Okay.
I got thrills.
You got thrills?
They're multiplying.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Empty promise.
Yeah.
Oh, we're no longer xigaming.com, by the way.
Did you get the domain?
Because it ran out. You go to www.emptypromisepodcast.com. Do you know I haven't been listening a lot to...
It's obvious.
It's obvious.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not nearly as regular as what they were.
No, they've missed a couple of weeks there.
That's disappointing.
I mean, it's really hypocritical for us to say that.
I know. Yeah, those guys they're slacking a little bit. I don't know. They were like when they post. Yeah, it's like when they post, we get our like, oh yeah, we got to post. Let's go shoot a podcast. You know,
it's been 3 weeks. Shit, we're slacking because they're slacking.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah.
I haven't listened to them in a while.
We're so influenced by other people. It's unbelievable. The whole.
You might as well call this the It's Obvious Joe Rogan Strange Uncle Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Empty Promise Podcast. My name is Chris and tonight on the 30th of September 2019 I am joined in our lovely Getting There Toasty studio by my best friend in the whole wide world, Mr. James C. Downey.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. D, we've kicked the ass out of September without even trying.
I mean, the last podcast was like the third week of August.
We should probably mention that. We shot a podcast ready to go up the following week, and it was such a good podcast. It was so good. We actually talked about our favorite fictional deaths, and the
emotions were high.
They were so high, and it was literally. It sounds so cliche, but it was probably one of my favorite, one of our best podcasts. And
unfortunately, got none of it on film.
No, went to edit the audio, and turns out it just wasn't there. So I could have put up the video, but it just would have been.
I mean, unless you're really good at lip reading,
I could put closed captions on YouTube, see what it assumes that we're saying.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Does that work?
It needs to hear.
It needs to hear something.
Yeah.
Maybe we just hear the heat or a bird or something. Tweets. Tweets in brackets. But thank you so much. If you found this, it means yes, we're back.
We are back in a big way.
Yeah, back in a big way for October, where we begin tonight our 4 podcasts of October based around the supernatural, all things ghosty, all things haunting.
Such an elegant title. Really loved it. We debated a bit of back and forth about what to call it, but I'm really glad what we settled on.
What should we have called it? Spooktober?
No, I had it called the Empty Promise Paranormal Podcast.
Oh,
Paranormal month of Parktober.
Parktober?
I don't know.
The Empty Promise Paratober Spooktacular Extravaganza. Okay. It's easy to find, you know?
But yeah, we're going to do...
Yeah, so all of our main topics coming over the next 4 to 5 weeks, I don't know, 4 to 5 podcasts that you get will be based around paranormal, supernatural, weird, scary kind of shit.
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah. Might even do one of those like true stories, you know, like the murderers hiding in like the car. Oh yeah, those type of things. Yeah, because we did that before, I think. Yeah, we did that before last Halloween, and it was really good. People enjoyed it. Scary campfire stories. Yeah. Oh yeah. But ones that are true. That'd be really good, actually. But yeah, if you are new to the podcast, thank you for picking this one up. Hello and welcome. You picked a good one. This is the show where me and my best friend get together almost regularly
every week
to discuss whatever we have in mind to discuss. Yeah. It could be anything. So, you know, we bring you all kinds of stuff from interesting tidbits to just downright lies. Yep, 100%. You got conspiracies and stories and events in the middle. Some of them are really good. I like our... We've done a couple of conspiracies. We've done some fantastic human feats. They're my favorite, I think. Just extreme human will. We can't just talk about anything. Yeah, and whatever interests us, you know. So, and we hope it interests you. Yep, definitely. And if you are returning, I was going to say star. If you're a returning star to the podcast, thank you. You are a star. You light up our nights. But thank you. And we did all our shout outs in the last podcast. So many. And did you write any of them down? I mean, they're all there, but I... Call them out, Chris. Give them the rule of honor here. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Also... Where is it? Main topic. It's not that one. Hang on. I got sheets here. We were also told to do a Would You Rather segment in this podcast going forward, which we discussed last week. Yeah, this is one of the shout outs. So let me see. really see my
Are you getting that under the candlelight there, Chris?
I am. A few shout outs for the regulars who be in touch. Ian Adams, who corrected us and updated us on our UFC knowledge on our last video about McGregor.
My God, that's so long ago.
So long ago, I know. Sorry for just getting back to you now, Ian. Hit the snake, guys, for dropping us a comment and dropping in. Thank you so much. The main man who I spoke to the last time I got my haircut. I actually spoke to him twice about the podcast. He gave some stellar movie recommendations, which I think I've covered now at this point. And to Ariane Davis, who is our probably only Welsh listener, who has suggested after last week's Fantastic Human Feats episode that we do a Would You Rather piece. Not sure if she meant an episode or a piece per episode. I'm not so sure. Those podcasts those shout outs are so long ago, but we don't have any for this week. So
the people who got in touch, who waited for the shout out, they're long gone.
I know. They've left us.
But you get what you expect when you listen to the Empty Promise podcast.
100%.
If we say we're going to shout you out, we probably will, but just not right away.
It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's really going to take some time. But hang on a second, because I have a good on this day today. In 1936, Pinewood Studios are officially open in England.
Oh, that's what they'd like.
So Alexander, Harry Potter, Charlie and Chocolate Factory, The Mummy, Lara Croft, James Bond movies, Nanny McPhee, Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton one. Thunderbirds, Superman series, stuff like that. But I have a better list.
Oh, good.
And I know we've done this one before, but this is just a fun list. Here are 10 untrue sayings.
Oh my God, yes.
All roads lead to Rome.
It's just not,
no, they don't.
Not factually correct, is it?
A watch pot never boils. It does. It will boil. But it may just take a wee bit longer. But
it won't take any longer. What are you talking about?
True, yeah.
There's the law of thermodynamics. It's basic physics. What are we doing here?
Let sleeping dogs lie. What if they're blocking a fire exit? You can't let them lie there. I know. Time is a great healer, but it also gives you an opportunity to bleed to death.
And it will inevitably kill you.
A stitch in time saves 9.
What is a stitch in time?
I don't know. What
is a stitch in time?
And to beat around the bush was the other one there.
What does it mean to beat around the bush?
I don't know. I mean, to beat around the bush means don't dance around the obvious. So many fucking, don't
dancing around the obvious.
Don't dance around the obvious. Don't sugarcoat it. Just
just give it to me straight.
Give it to me straight.
Which also doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Give it to me.
I don't know what's going on there, but there you go. Another useless list.
Sayings are so weird when you think about them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this is what we do in this podcast, by the way. The podcast, yes. You can find if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can find the video version over at youtube.com/excitegaming, I think.
You'd probably be just as well searching for Empty Promise podcast in the search bar. I think you'd probably have better results. Or SEO, as the technicality.
As the kids call it these days.
We're getting there.
We took a month off to perfect this.
We took a month off to sort of take a step back, reassess things, get everything ready for a big comeback, and this is it.
I just took so many steps back. I just went way over there.
But yeah, search for Empty Promise Podcast on YouTube. We're under Excite Gaming, but probably not for much longer. No. It's work in progress.
The contracts, they're just they're frying our heads.
Our sponsors are pulling out. We just it doesn't got legs anymore.
And we should have a couple of really cool, kind of edgy videos coming in the next. Well, we definitely we're going to have something.
We're going to push it to the edge.
Yeah, we used to say that a lot. I watched some of our old podcasts, and we used to say, "Oh, we're working on something big."
Oh, because for every sort of smallish YouTube podcast, whatever channel, they're all working on something big. It's always just around the corner. Yeah. We're working on some big stuff, and some of them do.
Yeah,
but we don't.
We don't deliver on that promise.
But this time, we
have a plan.
We do.
Is what I'm trying to say.
We've been talking about doing it. So,
but you can also find the audio version on any podcast hosting service. So you can take us with you on the go wherever you may be. We love it if you get in contact with us. You can either get in contact with us on Facebook through our Facebook page, which is Excite Gaming. I think it's still Excite Gaming.
But the time this podcast goes up, though.
Oh, it could be Empty Promise. I don't know. You just search for one of them. You'll find us there.
YouTube is just under the video on YouTube.
Our Twitter handle is
it's also Excite Gaming.
Excite Gaming. Our Instagram is The Empty Promise Podcast.
Yeah, hit us up on Instagram for simplicity.
Or you can find us or email us at... I'm not even going to give you the email because there's no point.
It's podcast Excite Gaming.
There's no point.
I hope someone has just stumbled. This is their first episode of the Empty Promise podcast.
Yeah.
We have no idea that we used to be called Excite Gaming.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago,
That's
and we're still
X-I-T-E.
Oh, it is X-I-T-E.
Not Excite.
So difficult.
It's so outdated. Oh, what were we thinking?
We were young.
Yeah, we were young. We were
Ambitious.
naive.
Yeah,
ambitious but rubbish.
Yes,
that was a saying we used to have as well on the podcast. Yeah. Do you know what? Another one I heard. We delivered prick tingling comedy.
Prick tingling, you guys. Doesn't get much better than this. One of the favorite, I don't know, would you call it a review, but someone said about us, and you told me it was one of your friends or someone you worked with said it. We are sickeningly likable.
So, yeah, sickeningly likable is right. Yeah,
it's sort of
that is fantastic.
Almost out to spite you. We make you like us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like, oh, I should really turn this podcast off, but I kind of want to hear what the next mouthful is.
I'm not sure I like these people, but I can't stop listening.
Exactly. Well, that's what we do. And now we're going to bring you whatever news we have.
Oh, dear.
No. First of all, before you get light with, I know you have a couple of little tidbits. Let's talk about something big that happened last week. The Last of Us 2 got a release date.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to talk about something, genuinely important to humanity.
The Last of Us 2 got a release date that I didn't write down. It's in February 21st of February, that right?
So,
something along that. You seen the trailer?
I seen the trailer.
Thoughts?
I think most of the country, most of the world. I've seen the trailer.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely The Last of Us. It's dark. It's gritty. It's not afraid to. It won't pull the punches. Yeah, it's going to be grim. It's going to be heartbreaking. It's probably not going to be a fun story. You're probably not going to come out of it feeling satisfied, but you're going to experience something that is true and gruesome and real. Yeah,
100%. I can't wait for this, and we finally have a release date, and now I'm just mad excited.
It looks like they've just done the impossible, which is kept true to the tone of the original and just kind of made everything better. It looks better. It seems more serious and more sort of, grounded and kind of more grown up, adult. Even though the first one was very much that way, it's like a HBO show now. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what it looks like, but not Game of Thrones.
It's adult.
Yeah. It's like Chernobyl.
Oh yeah, Chernobyl's pretty dark. Or Band of Brothers. That's HBO.
Oh, brilliant.
Pacific's also HBO. Yes. HBO have a lot of good stuff.
Oh, it's not television, Chris. It's HBO.
Is that what their thing is?
I think it used to be.
Oh wow.
They got some good marketing people. We could use good marketing people. But yeah, it looks good.
And what does this mean though in terms of the PS5? Do you think? Because
probably. I mean, everyone's guessing that they're going to reveal PlayStation 5 and Xbox 4 probably at the next E3 next summer or the latter half of next year, and then it's going to be like Christmas time. Pretty much they're going to drop it.
But do you think like whatever? So say The Last of Us releases PS4, PS4 Pro, and then they go and release PS5. And they're going to bring out an update, like
they're going to do remastered for sure. They're going to maximize.
I thought that cash value.
It's kind of like that other one, Death Stranding, as well, because it's right on the edge. So it's like
seen an interview with Kojima like a week or two ago, and he said even he doesn't know what this is. So I don't know what this is either.
I'm staying well away from it.
I think it's going to be a cinematic experience. I don't know. That's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm just waiting until someone tells me what it is, and then I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Kojima scares me.
Oh yeah,
in more ways than one.
Yeah. What was that game that we played that was half him?
Oh, I've actually news about that. PT.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PT was the playable trailer. It was never even a game. It was just a demo of a game.
That's right.
It was a demo for
one of James Sinker's finest moments was having that installed. Having that installed on his hard drive.
If you don't know the whole story with that, is they cancelled the game that it was eventually going to be, which was Silent Hills. Yeah. It was like Kojima was going to make a Silent Hill game, which is like just going to be a horror masterpiece. They, for some reason, decided to can him and can the game. So they pulled all the trailer, or they pulled the demo from the store. But if you had it installed already, you could keep it. But that's the only way. You can't download it again or anything like that.
You can't transfer it, can you?
No, I think it's just has to be on your.
If you have it, you have it. Yeah.
But Sinker had it, and we got to play it.
It was terrifying in every aspect of the word. And we played it alone with headphones on in the bathroom of the old studio. My God.
Just in case.
The video is on our channel if you want to go and see that.
Yeah, that's one of our better videos.
That's a great watch, actually. That was a bitch to edit, though.
Oh, yeah, but you did a very good job.
There's so many of us.
Heroic. There's 4 of us actually playing that game.
So many.
But yeah, there's actually a little bit of news about that. It actually came out a couple of weeks ago. But a hacker or a modder was messing about with the game and discovered that, I forget the name of the creature in it, sort of whatever ghost or whatever you want to call it. It's revealed that she's walking behind you the entire time.
No way.
Like every time you're walking down a hall, she is directly behind you, which is why sometimes you hear her like kind of breathing, her footsteps.
Shit.
And do you remember whenever you like kind of stood and the light was behind you, you could see like this thing freaking out behind you? Yeah, that was her.
Oh fuck! That gave me chills, man. That
just
gave me chills.
Just another layer of just complete freak out.
Just complete fuckery to that game.
She's behind you the entire time. The only time she's not behind you is whenever she appears in front of you.
She popped in front of me, and I've never screamed as hard in my whole life. Oh, yeah. That was terrible.
Check out the video if you want to see Chris scream.
But yeah, Last of Us. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah,
very excited. And Joel is there. Joel's back.
Yeah, they teased that perfectly, by the way, because I was like, are they just going to do away with him?
Yeah, I know.
And then there he was.
Yeah,
there he was.
So good hearing it all again and just seeing it all again, and it's going to be great day.
It is going to be great. I'm going to have to prepare myself for that though, because
are you going to play it through the first again? Yeah, you have to.
You know what? Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
because we have the PlayStation 4 version, which I've never played.
Oh.
So I'll plow through it on that.
Okay, excellent.
Then,
great shout.
But I meant more mentally, because you can't just like be playing Mario 1 minute and then jump into The Last of Us, or you'll have like an aneurysm or something. It's just
you'll die. It's too
totally different.
It's going from like the kiddiest game you can find to the most adult experience. Jesus, I mean the first 15 minutes of that game alone just tear you to shreds. So there
you go.
Yeah.
The Last of Us. Exciting times.
That was like the only bit of like kind of news I wrote down for this week, Dee, because we missed a lot of news, so I didn't bother.
There's so much news. So much has been happening.
The Rugby World Cup's on at the minute. You watching it?
I haven't, no, because it's on early in the morning.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Ireland are just not doing themselves any favours.
Well, I mean, they had a brilliant start.
Yeah.
They annihilated Scotland.
Yeah.
And then they were beaten by Japan.
I know.
Which, to their credit, I mean,
Japan's
they're at home. They got all that. They got all the support.
They're such a proud nation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
they're just going for it.
100%.
So I wasn't like. I mean, I wasn't thrilled to see Ireland beaten by Japan. But I mean, if anyone was going to beat us this World Cup, I'm very glad it was them.
It was Japan. Yeah,
and hopefully we won't lose again.
Yeah. They haven't left it easy on themselves because Scotland annihilated Samoa there today.
Yeah.
So.
But Scotland needed that, and we have Russia on Thursday.
And then
we'll have Samoa and the other team that I can't remember at this moment in time. Yeah. But Rugby World Cup, interesting stuff.
You got any news?
Yeah, I got some news. This is kind of just like tidbits that we're throwing together from the last month or so. There should be so much more, but this is just all that. So
there's not much point in delving into too much that we missed. Oh, the Area 51 thing was a flop.
Just nothing happened.
Storm Area 51, like 100 people showed up.
Was it Storm Area 51 or was it the Alien Fest?
I don't know. I think, either way, there's like 100 people showed up. And
I mean, pretty much what we all
even though like over like 1 million people, it's
easy to say yes on a Facebook invite.
Oh, I know. I know.
I was going to be in 6 different places yesterday, but whatever. Here's one that's just fucking crazy. Yep. Man who tried to fight grizzly bear in Banff National Park fined $4,000 for being an idiot.
Why did he try to fight a grizzly bear? Like to save his life, or did he just find one?
No. This will probably tell you all you need to know about the man. Devin Mitswing, 35, got out of his truck shirtless and began shouting at the young grizzly while in a boxing stance.
Oh my god!
So I mean,
did somebody video this? Is there a video that you can watch?
No, this is according to eyewitnesses to the incident. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe the bear was like talking shit about his woman.
Maybe
that's what it was.
Don't stand for that.
But caught on camera by a couple of nearby photographers who were taking pictures of the lone grazing grizzly. That's a bit of a tongue twister. On Highway 93.
That's
Mitswing was later located in Radium. This is British Columbia. This is Canada.
Yeah.
by a park warden and charged under the National Parks Act for disturbing wildlife in a national park.
Disturbing the peace.
You know what I mean, you don't do stuff like that.
That's fucking hilarious, though. Imagine just like, I'm going to fight a grizzly today. Like, was he drunk or high on drugs or something? Fuck knows.
I don't know. It just sounds like a bit of a...
Pot's legal in Canada now, so he could have been high as a fucking kite. Like,
well, because here's a little bit more information about Mr. Mitswing.
Mitswing. What a name.
It's Mitswing, so Mitswing. While he was at the courthouse before the doors officially opened for his trial, he left to run errands and grab some food, resulting in his absence from the morning trial. So, I mean,
what a man! He doesn't have a very adult head on him, I don't think.
But
he almost had no head on him.
I mean, he was lucky to still have his head on his shoulders after that. The other piece of news I had there, I already mentioned, was about the PT playable trailer. Mm-hmm. Having the monster behind you the entire time in a final mindfuck from Kojima. And this is just weird, Chris. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what would you do in this situation?
Okay,
right?
yeah.
A bank accidentally deposits $120,000 in a couple's account. They spend most of it, but then get charged with theft.
What?
Yeah.
What's the bank's fault?
Well, that's right? But I mean, if someone puts... Yeah, right.
I go to my bank tomorrow morning and there's 120,000. I'm going to take a whole lot out.
It's the moral dilemma though. Yeah. It's like if it's 1,000, you're like whatever. But like 120,000.
Yeah, that's a life-changing sum of money for some people. Like.
I mean, but like surely like if it's 1,000, you might get away with, but 120,000, like I mean, that just doesn't go missing at a bank. I don't think. I think they'll catch you. Well, not catch you because you didn't technically do anything wrong. No. It's your money. It's in your account.
Probably try to go into the bank and ask them if I could deposit it, and if they let me take it out there and then.
Well, then there you go.
Would they let you? Can you do that in banks?
Take out 120,000?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can.
Or do they have like a cap on it, like 10,000 or something?
I don't know.
I don't think many banks would have like 110,000 in.
Oh, they would. Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, I'd say they would. Yeah.
Oh, I suppose the amount of people.
Yeah, they got to cater. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe if you got this money, maybe what we should do is call the bank and find out what's going on. Yeah, you should definitely call the bank. As if you're going to do that. I mean, some people definitely
as soon as
would.
you call the bank, they're taking that money back off you.
I don't know. I know from our kind of background, when you see that money in your bank, the last thing you want to do is talk to people at the bank.
Exactly.
Because if that is your money, they'll talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Or I know. From the way I was raised, it's like, I don't trust banks.
No, I wouldn't trust
you
banks.
You shouldn't trust banks, but
maybe... No.
It's when a non-hypothetical $120,000 intended for a business was accidentally transferred into their BB&T bank, whatever that's meant to be.
BB&T.
The couple splurged on a camper, a Chevy car, a race car,
a race car bed,
and a race car. They went a bit all out, to be fair.
Yeah.
Authorities say they also distributed $15,000 to friends who needed the money, so a little bit of charity as well. They spent $100,000 in about 2.5 weeks. So they went
all out. Like.
Eventually, the bank contacted them after sending the money. After sending the money to the correct account, the bank notified Tiffany Williams, 35, that they were responsible for returning all the funds. He added that the withdrawal resulted in a $107,000 overdraft because the couple's bank account had only $1,121 before the windfall. So they were actually fined for being overdrawn when they took the money out. So
they're obviously, did they take them to court or anything, or?
The couple now face 3 felony charges of theft and receiving stolen.
Fault.
I know, but it's crazy. And these are felonies. Like, that's the big ones over in America.
Yeah.
So felony charges of theft, receiving stolen property. They appeared in court last week and posted bail of $25,000 each. That is, I don't believe that.
What, did they use their money to post the bail?
No, because you have to get bail bonds. Bail bonds? Is that what it's called?
Is it?
Yeah.
What is that?
I think that's where like you...
They bail you out and you have to pay it back?
Yeah, pretty much.
No way.
Something like that, yeah. Bail bonds. Anyway.
They should just use that money that they came into and be like, oh, I can bail myself out.
That's absolutely insane. I feel so bad for them.
It's so not fair, yeah.
No, definitely.
But do they have to give back like their capper and stuff and their race car?
Well, that's what they're saying. They have to pay the money back to the bank. They own the bank money. So it's like, you're $108,000 overdrawn. But it's like, if they pay it back, are they still liable? Are they still up for felony theft and stolen property?
Well, they shouldn't be because
they paid it back.
They paid it back. Yeah.
It's like a loan.
Jesus.
I don't know. Banks.
I would.
As if you didn't hate them enough.
I know. Well, I would keep it. I did the Euro Millions last week, and I thought I was going to win.
Of course you do,
because the one time in the year I do the Euro Millions, I was like, "This is it. This is me. I'm going into work tomorrow."
You have to believe, or else what's the point?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
190 million. Day.
I actually heard. Yeah, there was a guy. He bought a couple of.
Was it one?
Couple of lines. No. He was just saying he bought a couple of lines.
So it's rolled over. So tomorrow I could win 190 million, or jeez, I win the lotto. I win the lotto tomorrow. Day. I swear to God, I will splash out and get us a new cloth for this table.
Oh,
I know. Actually, you know what? I might just get this one washed.
But good washed.
Good washed. Yeah,
dry cleaned.
Dry cleaned. Yeah. That's insane. But yeah, this is the world we live in. Day. So much shit going on.
That's crazy as well, because all that money is just numbers in a bank computer somewhere.
Yeah, it's just numbers.
It's all just it's numbers. It's electricity. It's all
right. Before we get into our main topic this week, we got to do a couple of things. Firstly, I gotta cancel out this air. There we go. Thank you, D. Do you want to get yourself a cup of tea?
Yes, Chris, I do.
Yes. Okay. We're gonna get set up and prep, ready to go for the main topic. I'll cut all this out, so it'll not really matter. I don't think. I want
people to see my tea making.
No,
skills.
Okay, no. I'll keep it in if you want to watch D make a cup of tea. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna get this ready. Dyatlov background. Do.
You can't see my cup. 1 second. This is important. It's important, you guys. What kind of flask we rocking here, Chris?
This is the Thermos 21C.
Thermos 21C.
It's a good flask. Oh, the steam coming out of that.
Stainless steel. Vacuum insulated, you guys.
God, there's so much. Like, I went on looking one day for a flask. There's so many choices out there, D. It's like, why would there be so many choices for flasks?
Because you got to have a flask for every occasion.
You want to top me up?
Are you going to go with the CMT bag there?
Oh, yeah, I just reconstitute.
You're making your green tea wrong, Chris.
Yeah,
you're making it so wrong. You know you're not supposed to use hot water, like boiling hot water.
Yeah. Although I'd say that's pretty.
Suppose, yeah.
Not well. I don't know. That thermos holds some fucking heat. That packs some heat. You know.
That's a good color there.
It is a good color.
It's a good color tea there.
It's like a pish green.
It's like you've been eating a lot of it.
Oh, that you can't hear that, surely, can you?
I'd say you could. Do you want to filter out that?
Yeah. Okay, let's give me 10 seconds. Okay, there we go. There's like a big fucking boiler like underneath the table. And
really cold up here.
A little background just before I begin this topic. This is not my own story. I did not write this story. No,
I was not there for the events of this story.
Stay with it, okay? Because, and D as well, please ask questions and give thoughts as they arise in your head.
Okay.
Just because it'll be like organic. Yeah. So if something comes up, I want to clear it up for you there and then, rather than have to go back.
All the facts today, Chris.
I got facts. Yeah. I've got facts. Yeah. We've got a couple of facts, but it's just a weird kind of story.
I like that,
and I kind of hope that it intrigues people enough that they would maybe research this a wee bit more, or I don't know what people do when they hear our stuff. Oh, I finished reading Thingy's book, Julianne Kopka.
Kopka?
Yeah.
Nice.
The lady who fell from the sky.
Is it a good book? Is it a good read? Is it actually?
Read. It's half the book is about her accident, about her ordeal. The other half is about how she's trying to turn Panguana, the forest in Peru, into a nature reserve. Like how she's trying to get it. Like so
she's kind of using her exposure to
do she good. Cuts back and forth throughout the whole thing, which is it's nice. Oh, but good. My God, her father had like. He's on my Fantastic Human Feats for
Really?
Yeah, he made a journey when he was younger that it's like, holy shit, this is incredible. What a story. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I was like reading it's like 3 pages of the book and I was like, this is unreal. I need to tell Dave about this.
The Kopkas.
The Kopkas. Yeah.
What was I about to say there? If you are the type of person who wants to research things after we start talking about the podcast, you can find our show notes over at www.emptypromisepodcast.com. That's where we're going to have sort of links to the news that we talked about and some sort of extended extended text about the topic at hand.
Yeah.
That's if we do that. We're called the Empty Promise Podcast.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh no, I can give good show notes in this one here. I've got a good few pages and stuff that I can.
You know when we do this thing?
I just put it. Put it anywhere.
Show it at your home.
Yeah. So yeah, this will be good. Oh, we got milk. There's a fridge down there. What else? I'm starting to read the Steve Jobs autobiography.
Oh, what's it called? What's it entitled?
It's called
Steve Jobs.
It's called Steve Jobs. Yeah.
Is it an autobiography or
by
is it
Walter Isaac?
Oh, okay.
Someone. Yeah. It's the only reason was I'd seen it on Amazon and I went on and there was a new and used and I just happened to I chanced my arm at the hardback. I got it for $2.50.
Well, that's nice.
And it's like
something nice about a hardback. Too, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing that's not nice about a hardback, it's like impossible to read.
Because
you can't hold this. This thing is like nearly 700 pages.
Ooh,
it's a fucking Bible. He had a big life.
He did. Did you ever see the film Steve Jobs?
No.
With Fassbender. Very good. Yeah.
No, there's one with Fassbender. Isn't there one with Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah.
Do we want to forget about that?
There is one with Ashton Kutcher, unfortunately. Yeah. Apparently, though, he's not bad in it, but the film in general.
He looks a lot like the younger Steve Jobs. Yeah.
That's what he's got going for him. Michael Fassbender has, all of that acting capability.
We love you, Ashton.
That's good. And Steve Wozniak in that film. Is this Steve?
Yeah, Steve Wozniak.
Is Seth Rogen. He's very good.
Really?
Yeah, very good.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie.
So he is.
But we'll talk a little bit about other stuff that we've watched after we get through this topic. So everyone hold on to your butts. This is the Empty Promise Podcast. Delve into the Dyatlov Pass Incident from 1959. Okay.
Dyatlov Pass.
So what I'm going to do here first is give you a very quick bit of background on Dyatlov Pass, and then I'm going to jump into the actual kind of the whole story that went on. Okay.
Okay.
So what is Dyatlov Pass? Well, Dyatlov is the name of a pass in Russia in the Russian Ural Mountains.
The Ural Mountains. Mm-hmm. Sure. Whereabouts are those in the geography of Russia?
They are bordered with. I heard this, but I can't remember.
Like the east China area? Or like
no,
Siberia?
I think it's Siberia.
Okay.
I think it's more Siberia. Yeah, I think so. I think it's more northern than anything.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair.
But I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I should have looked that up. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to be...
I wrote down who was involved. I just wrote down 9 people because I'm going to go in and give you a bit of background on them in a second.
Okay.
It was in 1959. And what was significant about this is that out of the 9, no one came home.
So these 9 people went to Dyatlov Pass?
Dyatlov Pass in Russia. Okay. So
and is it a road or is it like a hiking trail?
It's a hiking. It's like a path, obviously through the mountains that they knew for. It would have been used for skiing and stuff, I think, and hiking and stuff, I guess.
Sure.
But a bit of background for you then. In 1959, a group was formed for a skiing expedition across the northern Urals in Sverdlovsk Oblast, Soviet Union. Igor, now I'm going to have to go through the names. I'll probably butcher them. I apologize, but it is important that you pay a bit of attention to the names. So we have Igor Dyatlov Pass, who is a 23-year-old radio engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, was the leader who assembled the group of 9 others for the trip, most of whom were fellow students and peers at the university. So people involved were Igor Dyatlov himself, Yuri Doroshenko, Ludmila Dubinia. I'm sorry for murdering the names. Yuri Krivznovchenko, Alexander Kolotalov, Zenaida. We had Rustem, we had Nikolai, we had Semyon, and then we had another Yuri at the end. Okay, so there's the 9 people. You just have to know of them for now. But just so when I jump into names, you're like, oh, okay. An important note was that each member of the group, which consisted of 8 men and 2 women, was already an experienced grade 2 hiker with ski tour experience and would be receiving grade 3 certification upon their return from this trip. Okay. So these grades are like for after certain expeditions. I'm not sure if it's like after hiking like certain like heights and stuff like that.
Or like distances and stuff.
Could be something like that. I'm not sure what they're giving out for. But basically, a grade 2 hiker is a good feat. Yeah, it's someone who's confident, someone who's competent at what they do, and they all would be receiving grade 3, so they were definitely at the higher end of grade 2 before taking this time. At this time, this was the highest certification available in the Soviet Union. And it required candidates to traverse 300 kilometers. So that's a long way. That's 190 miles.
So they were grade 3 is the top.
Grade 3 is the top. Yeah. Okay. The goal of the expedition was to reach Ortorton, which is a mountain 10 kilometers north of the site of the incident. This route in February was estimated as category 3, the most difficult. Okay. So it's 10k, so it's 6 miles that they had to cover. And in February, when this was, this would have been considered the hardest time to obviously traverse this route or whatever. So the expedition itself then, the group arrived by train at Ivdel, a town in the center of the northern province of Sverdlovsk Oblast, in the early morning of the 25th of January 1959. They then took a truck to Vizhai, a Luri village that is the last inhabited settlement to the north. While spending the night here, the skiers purchased and ate loaves of bread to keep their energy levels up for the next day's hike.
So they're like properly far north.
They're the last known inhabitants. Okay. So it's pretty barren up there. On the 27th of January, they began to trek toward Ortorton from the village. On the 28th of January, one of the members, Yuri Yudin, so this is one of the Yuris, he suffered from several health ailments, including rheumatism and a congenital heart defect. So this is what I looked into this. This is suffered from altitude. Obviously his heart defect there as well. And due to knee joint and the pain, it made him turn back and unable to continue the hike. The remaining group...
so 10 become 9?
10 become 9. The remaining group of 9 people continued the trek. So Yuri's away home.
No, this is Yuri...
This is not Dyatlov. This is the other Yuri.
So there's 2 Yuris and there's Igor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So diaries and cameras found at the last campsite made it possible to track the group's route up to the day preceding the incident. On the 31st of January, the group arrived at the edge of a highland area and began to prepare for climbing. In a wooded valley, they cached surplus food and equipment that would be used for the trip back. So obviously they're following the same trip. They enter this woodland, so they decide, look, we're going to leave some of our supplies here. We'll cache it here and we can get it on the way back. Nobody else is up here.
So this makes their sort of their load that they're taking
a lot lighter. Yeah. The following day, the 1st of February, the hikers start to move through the pass. It seems they plan to get over the pass and make camp for the next night on the opposite side, but because of the worsening weather conditions, which was snowstorms and decreasing visibility, they lost their direction and deviated west towards the top of Kholat Cycle. I think I'm pronouncing that right. When they realized their mistake, the group decided to stop and set up camp there on the slope of the mountain rather than move 1.5 kilometers or nearly a mile downhill into a forested area, which would have offered some shelter from the bad weather. So bad weather has struck, and they decide to stop and set up camp on the slope of the mountain rather than move another mile downhill into a forested area, even though it would have give shelter. Yudin postulated that Dyatlov probably did not want to lose the altitude they had gained, or he decided to practice camping on the mountain slope. So these are the kind of options that we have.
What a time to
start practicing.
But I get it. Like, I mean, you don't want to lose the motivation of getting up the mountain by going right back down it. Probably make people turn back.
Exactly. So before they left on their trip, Dyatlov had agreed he would send a telegram to their sports club as soon as the group turned to Vizhai. So whenever they got to the top and turned to come back, he was to send a telegram. It was expected that this would happen no later than the 12th of February, but Dyatlov had told Yudin before his departure from the group that he expected to be longer. When the 12th passed and no messages had been received, there was no immediate reaction, as delays of a few days are common with such expeditions. However, on the 20th of February, the relatives of the travellers demanded a rescue operation, and the head of the institute sent the first rescue groups consisting of volunteer students and teachers. Later, the army and the military forces became involved, with planes and helicopters being ordered to join the rescue. So it's a big deal now. Mm-hmm. These guys have been missing for, they've missed their window where this guy was going to telegram and say. Yeah. So now it's a full-blown rescue involving the military and the army and armed forces. Everybody's become involved with this, okay? On February 26th, the searchers found the group's abandoned and badly damaged tent on the Kolat cycle. So that this is where they pitched the tent on the mountainside. On the slope. Yep. Mm-hmm. The campsite baffled the search party. And Mikhail Shavarin, the student who found the tent, says the tent was half torn down and covered with snow. It was empty, and all the group's belongings and shoes had been left behind.
What?
Investigators then said that the tent had been cut open from the inside. Yeah, I know. 8 or 9 sets of footprints left by people who were wearing only socks or a single shoe, or some were even barefoot, could be followed clearly leading down towards the edge of a nearby woods on the opposite side of a pass, 1.5 kilometers to the northeast. However, at 500 meters, these tracks then were covered in snow. At the forest's edge, under a large Siberian pine, the searchers found the visible remains of a small fire. This is where they found the first 2 bodies. Those of Krivzolzianchenko and Doroschenko, shoeless and dressed only in their underwear. The branches on the tree were broken up to 5 meters high, suggesting that one of the skiers had climbed up to look for something, perhaps the camp. Between the pine and the camp, the searchers found 3 more corpses.
My God.
Dyatlov, Kolmongrova, and Slobodin, so 3 of the others, who seemed to have died in poses suggesting they were attempting to return to the tent. They were found separately at distances of 300, 480, and 630 meters from this tree.
So this is from where they found the first 2 bodies.
From where they found the first 2 bodies. The first 2 bodies were found
like a makeshift camp,
nearly campsite. A mile away from the tent after being abandoned. Shoeless, clothless, in these pretty harsh storms. Now, this is the thing that got me as well. Remember that these people are experienced hikers.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not like they forgot themselves and thought they'd go.
This is not normal. No. Experienced hikers would know the whole with weather worsening and everything what to do. This looks like it was a hurry. That something kind of either spooked these guys or something got them out of there quickly. And then the remaining bodies were found further from the tree where the first 2 were found. The branches were broke, which indicated that somebody tried to climb up and maybe spot something. Mm-hmm. Finding the remaining 4 travelers took more than 2 months, and they were finally found on the 4th of May under 4 meters of snow in a ravine 75 meters further into the woods from the pine tree. 3 of those 4 were better dressed than the others, and there were signs that those who had died first had their clothes relinquished to the others.
Oh, I see.
Dumanina was wearing Krivyanchenko's burnt, torn trousers, and her left foot and shin were wrapped in a torn jacket.
God.
So
okay, so let me get this.
Let's back up and get a recap on what's going on.
So we know they were camped up on the side of this mountain, which is not the ideal place to be. Mm-mm. At some point, they cut the tent open from the inside. Leaving behind their shoes.
The shoes, all their possessions,
and
basically.
And sort of their
garments,
hiking clothes. Yeah. Proceed a mile away from the campsite down to the shelter of the woods. The woods.
Yeah.
There you find 2 bodies which are basically naked.
Yep.
One of them tried to climb a tree. Somebody tried to climb a tree. Yeah. Heading back to the campsite, we found 3 more bodies.
3 more bodies.
Now, are they clothed? Are they scantily clothed?
That didn't say, actually. Never was, never said, I don't think. Let me just check that. The first 2 bodies were dressed only in their underwear. The other bodies, no, they just seemed to have died in poses suggesting that they were attempting to return to the tent.
Okay, so it seems like they got to the makeshift campsite. 3 of these people decided to go back to the tent.
Yeah.
2 people had presumably suffered their fate at this site. Yeah. At which point the remaining survivors took their clothes to sort of keep warm. But unfortunately, that was not
good.
Yeah.
And then the other 4 were then not found for a later. What did that say? Or the other 3 or 4? How many was it? 4 travelers took more than 2 months,
and they sort of stayed in the woods, not far from the.
Only 75 meters further away,
but just covered in snow.
Jesus. Completely covered. Under 4 meters of snow. So Jesus, like that's.
They just obviously
was it 16 feet of snow? Like.
So that's just how bad the storm was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. That's how bad this storm was. But yet something spooked these guys enough to leave their tent without any of their possessions, without even their clothes. Yeah. Experienced hikers, remember, these are guys going for their grade 3, the highest.
They cut the tent open
from the inside.
Presumably the tent opens without much.
Yeah. So something went wrong. Which leads to the investigation. A legal inquest started immediately after the first 5 bodies were found. A medical examination found no injuries that might have led to their deaths and was eventually concluded that they had all just died of hypothermia. Slobodin had a small crack in his skull, but it was not thought to be a fatal wound. An examination of the 4 bodies that were found in the May time, so the ones that were covered in the snow, shifted the narrative as to what had occurred during the incident. 3 of the ski hikers had fatal injuries. So Brigoles had major skull damage, and both Dublina and Zoratolyov had major chest fractures. What? According to Dr. Boris Vorhendiny, the force required to cause such damage would have had to be extremely high, comparable to the force of a car crash.
What?
Yeah.
So, okay. So these are the 4 people who were found last.
Yeah, found under the snow. And one of them was found with major skull damage, and 2 others have found with major chest fractures, the force of which caused... would have been comparable to the force of a car crash. Noticeably, though, the bodies had no external wounds associated with the bone fractures, as if they had been subjected to a high level of pressure. However, major external injuries were found on Dublina, who was missing her tongue, her eyes, part of her lips, as well as a facial tissue and fragment of skull bone.
Missing. Okay. All right. This is just you were saving that.
Yeah.
You were saving that piece. Okay, so so you're telling me this story and I'm thinking, all right, maybe they got spooked, maybe it was a bear, maybe it was something wolves or something that they had to run out in a hurry. Yeah. But this is just crazy. Yeah.
It was she also had extensive skin maceration on her hands.
Oh my God.
It was claimed that Dublina was found lying face down in a small stream that ran under the snow, and that her external injuries were in line with putrefaction in wet environment, but were unlikely to be associated with her death.
What does putrefaction mean?
So like rotting basically. So she's been left kind of near the stream in the wet. It's just kind of eating away at the skin.
So the thing has happened to her.
Well, I don't know if that would necessarily cause like both her eyes, part of her lips, her face to kind of, I don't know if it would take that long. I don't know. There was initial speculation that the indigenous Mansai people had attacked and murdered the group for encroaching upon their lands, but investigation indicated that the nature of their deaths did not support this hypothesis. Only the hikers' footprints were visible, and they showed no sign of hand-to-hand struggle. So there is this Mansai tribe who live in these remote regions, and obviously if people had crossed onto their land, they would have taken it very seriously, but obviously the investigation doesn't add up.
Sure.
Only one set of footprints and obviously no sign of the hand-to-hand struggle. Although the temperature was very low, with around negative 25 to 30 degrees, with a storm blowing, the dead were only partially dressed. Some of them had only one shoe, while others had no shoes or worn only socks. Some were found wrapped in snippets of ripped clothes that seemed to have been cut loose from those who were already dead. Some journalists reporting on the available parts of the inquest files claims that it states 6 of the group members died of hypothermia and 3 of fatal injuries. There were no indications of other people nearby apart from the 9 travellers. The tent had been ripped open from within. The victims had died 6 to 8 hours after their last meal. Traces from the camp show that all of the group members left the campsite of their own accord on foot. High levels of radiation were found only on one victim's clothing. To dispel the theory of an attack by the indigenous Mansai people, this doctor stated that the fatal injuries of the 3 bodies could not have been caused by another human being because the force of the blows had been too strong and no soft tissue had been damaged. Released documents contained no information about the condition of the skiers' internal organs, and there were no survivors of the incident. So that's what the journalist reported then at the time. Yeah.
So injuries that could not have been committed by another human being.
No. Yeah.
They left their tents with no shoes, no socks.
In a heavy storm. Experienced hikers, mountaineers.
That's messed up.
Yeah. At the time, the verdict was that the group members had all died because of a compelling natural force. However, the inquest officially ceased in May 1959 as a result of the absence of a guilty party. The files were sent to a secret archive. On the 12th of April 2018, the remains of Zolotrev were exhumed upon the initiative of the journalist of the Russian tabloid something Pravda. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, sorry. Contradictory results were obtained. One of the experts stated that the character of the injuries resembled a person knocked down by a car, and the DNA analysis did not reveal any similarity to the DNA of living relatives. In addition, it turned out that the name Semyon Zolotrev is not on any of the list of dead buried at the Inverskoye Cemetery. Nevertheless, the reconstruction of the face from the exhumed skull agrees with the post-war photographs of Semyon, although journalists expressed suspicions that another person was hiding under the name of Semyon Zolotrev after the war.
So this guy might not have been
who he said he was.
This is a case of stolen identity.
Yep. Went on this hike. Yeah. This is it just keeps just something else left field. The region was closed to expeditions and hikers for 3 years after the incident, but it is now currently accessible. So I am going to read into for you, D, the theories around what has actually happened.
Sure. I am very interested in.
Good. Okay. Oh my God, why will it not open up? So while I wait for this just to open up, why don't we do a quick recap of everything that's gone on so far? So we have 10 experienced hikers set off to the Dyatlov Pass in Russia, which is quite high north. I actually see it in the map there, northeastern region of Russia. Halfway up, one of the guys decides to turn around and come back down. Altitude sickness, bad knee, blah, blah, blah. 9 of them go on. They make for the summit. Before they get there, they cash in a lot of their food and supplies that they're going to get on the way back in a wooded area, a forest wooded area. Then they set off. On one of the nights, there's a pretty bad storm, but instead of walking back down to the cover of the forest, they decide to set up their camp on a sloped mountain region. Storm is pretty bad, and that night is to be like their last night, because after the bodies are found, it is turned out that the tent that they were staying in appears to be cut open from the inside. The hikers left in such a hurry that most of them weren't even clothed properly. Shoes, socks left behind on most of them. The investigators then found 2 bodies in the wooded area, one of which it seems had tried to climb a tree, and another one was laying on the ground. A further 4 bodies. What was it?
It was
3 bodies had been found then spaced out around as if they were heading back to the original campsite.
Leaving the remaining 4.
Leaving the remaining 4 who were buried under snow and found months later in May time. 2 of these people had massive pressure kind of wounds. Is that what you would call it? Injuries, yeah. So broken chest plates, massive damage to the skull, massive, like, what do you call that? Like
blunt force
to the skull, that would have been compatible with like a car crash, that kind of force. One of the girls was found face down. She was missing her eyes, her lips, part of her nose. Her hands were macerated, and her body was putrefying. And that's what we're up to. Oh, and then it turns out that after investigating one of the people, it looks like it may have actually been someone else posing under that name from post-war.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Okay. So the theories as to why these people, or what actually happened. First off, an avalanche. The theory that an avalanche caused the hiker's death were initially popular, has since been questioned, reviewing the sensational Yeti hypothesis. That the group woke up in a panic and cut their way out of the tent, either because an avalanche had covered the entrance to the tent, or because they were scared that an avalanche was imminent. Better to have a potentially repairable slit in a tent than risk being buried alive in it under tons of snow. They were poorly clothed because they had been sleeping, and ran to the safety of the nearby woods where trees would help slow oncoming snow. In the darkness of night, they got separated into two or three groups. One group made a fire, hence the burnt hands, while the others tried to return to the tent to recover their clothing, since the danger had apparently passed. But it was too cold and they all froze to death before they could locate their tent in the darkness. At some point, some of the clothes may have been recovered or swapped from the dead, but at any rate, the group of 4 whose bodies were mostly severely damaged were caught in an avalanche and buried under 4 meters of snow, which is more than enough to account for the compelling natural force the medical doctor described.
So is it possible that an avalanche, the snow is enough to...
Yes.
To cause that pressure.
Cause that pressure. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And Dubina's tongue was likely removed by scavengers and ordinary perdition. So.
Excuse me. What?
Yeah. So they're saying basically that, I don't know if you get bears up there. Or
scavengers.
Scavengers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Animals. I was like scavengers thinking people coming stealing their clothes.
However, evidence contradicting the avalanche then includes the location of the incident did not have any obvious signs of an avalanche having ever taken place. An avalanche would have left certain patterns and debris distributed over a wide area. The bodies found within a month of the event were covered with a very shallow layer of snow, and there had been an avalanche of sufficient strength to sweep away the second party. These bodies would have been swept away as well, and this would have caused more serious and different injuries in the process, and would have damaged the tree line.
They were 75 meters away.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's not like an avalanche happened over there, but not with the rest of the
exactly.
guys were.
Trees weren't damaged.
Exactly.
There's no natural
to discern footprints, and they were able to tell that someone climbed a tree.
Exactly.
They couldn't have been that badly damaged.
No.
Yeah. So that I mean,
no.
How fast can you run away from an avalanche?
Exactly. Yeah.
If they knew an avalanche was coming,
yeah.
I don't know.
Over 100 expeditions to the region were held since the incident, and none of them have ever reported any conditions that might create an avalanche. A study of the area using up-to-date terrain-related physics revealed that the location was entirely unlikely for such an avalanche to ever have occurred. The quote dangerous conditions found in another nearby area, which had significantly steeper slopes and cornices, were observed in April and May when the snowfalls of winter were melting. During February, when the incident occurred, there were no such conditions.
Sure, yeah,
that's winter, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's a couple more bits there. Footprint patterns leading away from the tent were inconsistent with someone, let alone a group of 9 people running in panic from either real or imminent danger. In fact, all of the footprints leading away from the tent and towards the woods were consistent with individuals who were walking at a normal pace.
With no shoes on.
Just
insane.
So that's crazy. So the footprints don't match up to like people running about frantically trying to escape anything or even running. These were footprints of people who were just walking at a normal pace.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Possessing someone to do that in freezing cold conditions at night.
Yeah.
Minus 25, minus 30 degrees. You're walking without any shoes on. How can you even walk at a normal pace? Like, what was going on here?
So a repeated 2015 investigation, a review of the 1959 investigation's evidence completed in 2015 to 2019 by experienced investigators from the Investigative Committee of the Russian Federation, or ICRF, on request of the family. So families requested that these guys go out and investigate this further. So they did. First of all, the ICRF investigators One of them, an experienced alpinist, confirmed that the weather on the night of the tragedy was very, very harsh, with wind speeds up to hurricane force of 20 to 30 meters per second, with a snowstorm and temperatures reaching minus 40 degrees. These factors weren't considered by the 59 investigators who arrived at the scene of the incident a week later when the weather had much improved. The harsh weather at the time played a critical role in the events of the tragic night, which has been reconstructed as follows. On the 1st of February, the group arrives at the Cycle Mountain and erects a large 9-person tent on an open slope without any natural barriers such as forests. On the day and a few preceding days, a heavy snowfall continued with strong winds and frost. The group traversing the slope and digging in the tent into snow weakens the snow base. During the night, the snow field above the tent starts to slide down slowly under the weight of the new snow, gradually pushing the tent fabric starting from the entrance. The group wakes up and starts evacuation in panic, with only some able to put on warm clothes. Since the entrance was blocked, the group escapes through a hole cut in the tent fabric and descends the slope to find a place perceived as safe from the avalanche, only 1,500 meters down the slope at the forest border. Due to some of the members having very incomplete clothes, the group splits. 2 of the group, only in their underwear and pajamas, found at the Siberian pine tree near a fire pit. Their bodies were found first and were confirmed to have died from hypothermia. 3 hikers, including Dyatlov, attempted to climb back to the tent, possibly to get sleeping bags. They had better clothes than those at the fireplace, but still quite light, and their footwear was incomplete. Their bodies were found at various places ranging from 300 to 600 meters from the campfire in poses suggesting that they fell down of exhaustion while trying to climb in deep snow in extremely cold weather. The remaining 4, equipped with warm clothes and footwear, were apparently trying to find or build a better camping place in the forest further down from the slope. Their bodies were found only 70 meters from the fireplace under several meters of thick layer of snow, and with the traumas indicating they fell from a snow hole formed above a stream. These bodies were only found after 2 months. After the snowslide, another mistake of the group was to split up rather than building a temporary camping place down in the forest and trying to survive through the night. Negligence of the 59 investigators contribute to their report, creating more questions than answers and inspiring numerous conspiracy theories. So another theory was the katabatic wind. Do you ever hear about this at all?
The katabatic wind?
Yeah, no. Okay. So
sounds very interesting, though.
In 2019, a Swedish-Russian expedition was made to the site, and after investigations, they proposed that a violent katabatic wind is likely explanation for the incident. Katabatic winds are somewhat rare events and can be extremely violent, and was implicated in a similar case in Sweden, where 8 hikers perished in 1978 after the aftermath of the katabatic wind. A sudden katabatic wind would have made it impossible to remain in the tent, and the most rational course would be for the hikers to cover the tent with snow and seek shelter among the tree line. There were also a flashlight left turned on top of the tent, possibly left there intentionally so the hikers could find their way back to the tent once the winds subsided. The expedition proposed that the group of hikers constructed 2 bivouac shelters, one of which collapsed, leaving 4 of the hikers buried with violent injuries observed. Another hypothesis, popularized by Donnie Eicher's 2013 book Dead Mountain, is that the wind going around the mountain created a Kármán vortex street, which can produce infrasound capable of inducing panic attacks in humans.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
According
Is
to
real? Is that a real
According to Eicher's theory, the infrasound generated by the wind as it passed over the top of the Holocaust mountain was responsible for causing physical discomfort and mental distress in the hikers. Eicher claims that because of their panic, the hikers were driven to leave the tent by whatever means necessary and fled down the slope. By that time, they were further down the hill. They would have been out of the infrasound's path and would have regained their composure, but in the darkness would have been unable to return to the shelter. The traumatic injuries suffered by 3 of the victims were the result of stumbling over the ledge of a ravine in the darkness and landing on the rocks at the bottom.
Jesus.
So this guy is saying that these wind come up and just swirl in the vortex, causing all these sounds and distress to hikers and skiers.
Absolutely insane.
Causing them to kind of pretty much go mad. and they all experienced it at once and all left the tent at once. That's a horrible way to picture it.
It messed with their minds in such a way to make them do something that just like completely defies all convention, all common sense.
Yeah.
To walk out in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It can't. That's whenever you first initially described the story to me, and I heard about a tent being cut open from the inside, people leaving in like a calm, like the footsteps, the footprints indicate that they walked sort of normally. I was like, this is weird. Like something got into these people's heads. Something made them do something just unhuman,
stupid.
You know, not stupid, like beyond stupid. Like a stupid person who's don't go out and like nearly die. Something that just like shut down all those parts
logical
of your brain.
thinking.
That tells you survive. And reminds me of like something I heard shockingly similar about like a group of kids who went up in some American mountain up like the Rockies or something like that.
Okay.
And basically it's a very similar situation where they left their car and they went up into the mountains.
Right.
I might talk about this maybe in a couple of podcasts time. And they left their car and they went up into the mountains and sort of walked around aimlessly at night in like stupid conditions with no clothes on or no suitable clothes on.
Jesus.
Some of them were found.
What made them do this?
Exactly. No one knows.
Jesus.
They were like coming home from like a football game or something like that.
And something just possessed them to do this?
For some reason, they got out of the car in the worst possible place and they were found like in various locations across the mountain in the subsequent months. Some of them found their way into like a cabin. Yeah. They survived for a short while, but they didn't even eat the food that was there and stuff like that.
That's crazy to think though, that like these 9 people were in a tent and all of a sudden like these winds just drove them to sheer madness.
Just what
possessed them to do something.
What can compel you to do that? To cut open your one place of safety and leave.
That's insane.
Those theories about the idea of like snow kind of crushing the tent and forcing out, that all makes sense, but it's like the footsteps.
Even
they walked out there. They were too composed to be rushing. Yeah, but they were too reckless to be composed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's so contradictory. Everything that's happening.
Well, another theory is that military tests were happening in the area. It exists that the campsite fell within the path of a Soviet parachute mine exercise. This theory alleges that the hikers, woken by loud explosions, fled the tent in a shoeless, shell-shocked panic and found themselves unable to return for supply retrieval. After some members froze to death attempting to endure the bombardment, others commandeered their clothing only to be fatally injured by subsequent parachute mine concussions. There are indeed records of parachute mines being tested by the Soviet military in the area around the time the hikers were there. Parachute mines detonate while still in the air rather than upon striking the Earth's surface and produce signature injuries similar to those experienced by hikers. Heavy internal damage with comparably less external trauma. The theory coincides with reported sightings of glowing orange orbs floating or falling from the sky within the general vicinity of the hikers, potentially military aircraft or descending parachute mines.
Holy shit.
I know.
Parachute mines. So this is like what? This is like a bomb that explodes in the air.
I think of it like or almost like a cluster grenade, and then it falls and then the shit just destroys everything in its path.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Some speculate the bodies were unnaturally manipulated due to characteristic livor mortis markings discovered during autopsy, as well as burns to the hair and skin. Photographs of the tent allegedly show that it was apparently erected incorrectly, something that experienced hikers were unlikely to ever have done. A similar theory alleges that the testing of radiological weapons and is partly based on the discovery of radioactivity on some of the clothing, as well as the bodies being described by relatives as having orange skin and grey hair. Jesus. However, radioactive dispersal would have affected all of the hikers and equipment instead of just some of it, and the skin and hair discoloration can be explained by a natural process of mummification after 3 months of exposure to the cold and winds.
It's insane.
It's absolutely crazy.
I mean, I gotta say, this idea about what was it? What kind of wind was it? Was it the intersonic or?
Oh, the infrasound.
That idea, it kind of gets more convincing. When
I know.
When you think about the things that they did, and then this idea of like the guy got his tongue cut out, and just weird, inhumane things that happened. Just like.
Mm-hmm. Furthermore, the initial suppression of files regarding the group's disappearance by Soviet authorities is sometimes mentioned as evidence of a cover-up, but the concealment of information regarding domestic incidents was standard procedure in the USSR and therefore far from peculiar. And by the late 1980s, all Dyatlov files had been released in some manner. Paradoxical undressing. International Science Times posted that the hikers' deaths were caused by hypothermia, which can induce a behavior known as paradoxical undressing, in which hypothermic subjects remove their clothes in response to perceived feelings of burning warmth.
Oh my God.
It is disputed that 6 of the 9 hikers died of hypothermia. However, others in the group appear to have acquired additional clothing from those who had already died, which suggests that they were of sound enough mind to try to add layers. So doesn't really add up.
Also, I mean, if you can see your buddy in this kind of mental state where they're taking off clothes in freezing cold conditions, you're going to help them.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
One or if not all of them had been afflicted by it, I don't think. I think it kind of covers it.
And finally, then, pseudoscientific theories. The 2014 Discovery Channel special Russian Yeti, The Killer Lives, explored the theory that the Dyatlov group was killed by a Mank or Russian Yeti. The show begins with the premise that the skiers' injuries were such that only a creature with superhuman strength could have caused them. The episode concluded with there being no solid evidence for its claims. However, in the interview with 2 members of a search party who got onto the scene first, they claimed that they saw footprints larger than those of human, and that those footprints were never included in an official Soviet government report. And additionally, that after months of trying to gain access, a Russian documentary narrator, Maria, finally got access to a classified Soviet military document regarding the investigation of the missing hikers, in which the start date of the investigation is 6th of February, but the hikers were reported missing almost 10 days later, on the 15th to 16th of February, which could indicate a Soviet military cover-up operation.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because if the parachute mines theory
is true,
that could explain about them being dead a lot earlier.
Yeah. The documentary also claims that the howling sound that they've recorded during their cave and forest expedition does not belong to any known animal species.
Or it could have been that crazy wind.
Some other quick theories. Keith McCloskey, who has researched the incident for many years and has appeared in several TV documentaries on the subject, noted that there were wide discrepancies in the distance quoted between the 2 possible locations of the snow shelter, where Dubinina, Koloratov and Zola Trev were found. One location was approximately 80 to 100 meters from the pine tree where the bodies of the other 2 hikers were found, and the other suggested location was so close to the tree that anyone in the snow shelter could have spoken to those at the tree without raising their voices to be heard. The second location also has a rock in the stream where Dubinina's body was found and is more likely the location of the 2. However, the second suggested location of the 2 has a topography that is closer to the photos taken at the time of 1959.
So there's
a little bit of like discrepancy between where the bodies were actually found. Donnie Icar, who investigated this, is the guy who said about the swirling wind causing him to go crazy. He investigated and made a documentary about the incident, evaluated several other theories that are deemed unlikely or that have been discredited. They were attacked by Manzai or other local tribesmen. The local tribesmen were known to be peaceful and there was no track evidence of anyone approaching the tent. They were attacked by either a chased animal or wildlife. There were no animal tracks, however, and the group would not have abandoned the relative security of a tent. High winds blew one member away and the others attempted to rescue the person. However, a large, experienced group would not have behaved like that, and the wind strong enough to blow people away with such force would also probably have blown away the tent. An argument possibly related to a romantic encounter that left some of them only partially clothed led to a violent dispute. About this, Icar states that it is highly implausible. By all indications, the group was largely harmonious and sexual tension was confined to platonic flirtation and crushes. There were no drugs present, and the only alcohol was a small flask of medicinal alcohol found intact at the scene. The group had all sworn off cigarettes for the expedition. Furthermore, a fight could not have left the massive injuries that one body had suffered.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much unknown about that.
It's insane.
But there's also so many very interesting theories, and a lot of them, well, not a lot of them, but certainly some of them, I think could convince me of that's what happened. I mean, the official report done in 2015, what is it, the ICRF, I think it was. I mean, that's obviously what they want you to take as the word. That is the
that's the bottom line.
Is the snow sort of slid down the mountain a little bit, it covered their tent. Seeing what could go wrong, they decided, let's get out of here, let's go make shelter. They were reckless, they left in a hurry.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they had enough time to assess what was going on. It wasn't an avalanche, because we know that can't really happen.
Not in that area, no.
But maybe they got panicked and they left without their shoes, etc. Made their way down to this area. Some of them went back, other ones moved away to find better shelter, and somehow half of them got covered by snow or fell down a ravine. The others died of exposure. I don't know.
Some of them have massive crushing blows to the body.
It makes perfect sense when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly reasonable thing to say that happened. But then you introduce things like, okay, when they left the tent, they walked.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like they ran.
Yeah.
Okay, so they weren't wearing the shoes.
Yeah, so they weren't really panicked.
Yeah, so they walked away in a panic.
Yeah.
They walked in a panic. When they got to the new site, they climbed a tree. To get back to the tent. They didn't bring the stuff with them when they left. The idea that these avalanches can't even happen, but it still managed to kill those 2 people or 3 people. They got crushed. Yeah. 2 chest plates crushed and a skull with massive fucking a tongue removed.
A tongue removed. Now I read I remember hearing something on that people were just saying, "Oh, that's just wildlife." But to counteract that, like, if wildlife, especially like a prey, if they come along and they sense their opportunity, like, they're not just going to take eyeballs and stuff. Like, they're going to,
a scavenger's going to go for all the meat in the body.
A leg, an arm, a stomach. You know what I mean? And
a tongue is just such a specific part.
Yeah, and she was found face down. So if you're face down, I don't know.
As well. Just I don't know. I like the concept of this wind that made them do, because it just, to my mind, the actions that were described were just like, you don't do those under normal operating behavior. There was something that made them behave in a non-normal way. Whether that's this kind of, I know it's kind of crazy to say it's this wind, this infrasonic or sonic wind. Maybe it is. Maybe that hyperthermia concept where they were so cold in the tent. The temperatures were so cold that some of them were behaving irrationally and taking their clothes off and leaving. The others maybe followed them to try and get them back. Although, logic dictates that they wouldn't have done that because it would jeopardize the entire group. But then again, logic dictates that the whole group wouldn't flee. It's just
it doesn't add up.
Experienced hikers, I just don't see them making that mistake.
These parachute mines as well.
Very interesting. I actually really like that concept.
I mean, large orange orbs were seen in the sky around the time. The government were known to test these parachute mines in that vicinity at around the time. It can't be ruled out.
If anyone's going to do it, it's the USSR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the fact that this case that we seen then was opened up 10 days before the hikers even had went missing.
They presumably knew about this. The pressure that caused the death without accounting for some sort of avalanche or a fall. I mean, I find it difficult to believe that they fell. They were 75 meters away from the camp, the second camp that was away from the tent. They fell to their death somehow from that distance after the other 2 had already succumbed to exposure.
What freaks me out about this whole thing is the fact that these were experienced hikers.
Yeah.
So no matter what happened, it had to be so tragic, so ridiculous that all 9 of them lost their minds at once.
Well, yeah.
And just bolted from this.
Maybe it was bad leadership. Maybe 1 or 2 made the call, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have done.
Jeez.
The entire group. Although I just don't see, as you say, there's 9 people.
There's 9 people.
There's got
to be. Exactly. That's a stupid idea.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
some of the aftermath then. In 1967, Sverdlovsk writer and journalist Yuri Yarovi published the novel Of the Highest Degree of Complexity, inspired by the incident. Yarovi had been involved in the search for the Dyatlov's group and at the inquest as an official photographer during both the search and the initial stage of investigation, and so had insight into the events. The book was written during the Soviet era when details of the accident were kept secret, and Yarovi avoided revealing anything beyond the official position and well-known facts. The book romanticized the accident and had much more optimistic end than the real events. Only the group leader was found deceased.
In the book?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So 8 of the confirmed dead bodies
didn't die. Yarovi's colleagues say that he had alternative versions of the novel, but both were declined because of censorship. Since Yarovi's death in 1980, all his archives, including photos, diaries, and manuscripts, have been lost.
Well, that's convenient.
So there we go. So someone who was on the case, who's seen, photographed, wrote a book, but it was very by the book, by the government, what they wanted to reveal. Everything else was lost.
I mean, that kind of adds an additional layer of just sort of mystery, and you can't really trust the account that you hear because it happened in the USSR at a time when they were very sort of toe the line, or you get in a lot of trouble. You know, and the official report obviously seemingly was modified, you know, massively to say that only one person died. 2015, even whenever it's still Russia who are coming out with the official report, and it's just sort of, I don't know, you know, maybe I'm being biased, but the official Russian government stance is not the one I would jump to trust.
No, never would be. Do you know? No.
You know, part of me just cannot wrap my head around the idea that, you know, 9 sane people would cut their way out of a tent and walk barefoot
in this storm.
In a storm.
Jesus, it's insane.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter how much of a rush you are in. You have to be absolutely, you have to be at death's door. You have to think, I am going to die this moment unless I cut this tent and leave.
And leave without my belongings.
To leave without your shoes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just don't see how that. Maybe the bombs falling, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. That's the type of situation you do that in. The idea that snow was pushing against your tent, you have way more time.
Yep.
An avalanche, if it was possible, although it doesn't seem that it was, an avalanche, if it was possible, that makes sense.
That might make sense. But again, there was no traces, you know. The forest was intact. Yeah. The footprints were there. There's no real signs.
It's pretty clear there was no avalanche.
These winds are a freaky theory. These winds that cause them to all go mad and just walk out of their tent.
That freaks me out because I don't like the idea of something that can change how your mind works. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
My mic has stopped. Bleh.
Why is that so low? Give me a wee talk again there, D.
Hello. I was back now.
Right, back. You're good.
My mic is working?
Yep.
My mic is working.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. That is in essence the whole kind of Dyatlov Pass incident. Mm-hmm. Now the Russian government has reopened the case.
They have?
The case is reopened as of a couple of weeks ago. So,
oh, really?
Yeah,
recently?
Yeah. It's been reopened. So if you see it in the news, at least you know.
I don't think we're going to see, like, from what you're telling me, I don't think we're going to see like a big revelation like, oh, actually what happened was this, because basically at this point you've discussed pretty in depth a lot of the possibilities there.
Yeah.
I like the idea of something that made them went against their self-preservation, like sort of
insane
idea in their head. The idea of I forget what it was called, that hypothermia effect where you take off your clothes. Okay, that makes sense to me that they would do something just this stupid.
Yeah.
The ultrasonic wind. It sounds a little far-fetched to me, but again, I just don't. That's what resonates with me, is the idea that they just were not behaving as normal humans do.
It's not logic.
When they cut open that tent and left. And again, the bombs falling just
caused the panic. Get out of here.
That is pure panic, you know. And if there was an avalanche coming, then I think I would buy that too, that they would have to get out. There's an avalanche, but there clearly wasn't from what the evidence at the scene.
No evidence.
Because modern day technology can assess that mountain, and they can tell in February, middle of winter, end of winter, there was
oh my god,
there just was no avalanche. I'm not convinced there was an avalanche.
It's a true bloody mystery, D.
It is. And I mean, this is what people, we latch onto these things because we just don't know what happened.
I know.
And we probably never will.
I know.
So we have to fill in the gaps ourselves and sort of work it out. It reminds me very much of that missing flight.
MH803 or MH83 or something like that. Yeah.
Just sort of just don't know, and we're not going to find out.
That would be an interesting topic actually to dredge that back up.
For sure.
100%. But yeah.
No, that was. Thank you very much for discussing that, Chris.
You're welcome.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Good. I hope listeners got something out of that as well, and free to interpret in whatever way you wish or look it up. It is the Dyatlov Pass, the Dyatlov Pass in Russia. That incident.
And is it now officially called the Dyatlov Pass? So he lent his name to it.
He lent his name to it. Yeah, I guess. But
I suppose that's the least he can get from it.
Jesus, it's just I haven't seen any pictures or anything from it though. I know that there are pictures, of like of the sites and stuff, that we're taking at the time. I'd like to see those.
All right, maybe we'll get whenever we're putting up the show notes.
I'll look into that and see if I can bring those up. Absolutely, that's a great idea. But I hope you enjoyed that little investigation.
Absolutely.
Remember that you can find the video version of the podcast over at youtube.com/excitegaming, or you will find the audio version of the podcast at any podcast hosting service, so you can take us with you on the go. D, I think we just about have time to wrap up the podcast with getting personal with the podcast. It has been a month from we've seen each other.
It has. It's been quite a gap.
So I want to hear about what you've been up to. Have you been watching anything? Have you been playing anything? Have you been reading anything? Have you been eating anything? Worth noting.
I've done... See, now you ruined it there by saying worth
noting. Yeah, I knew.
I mean, it's been a quiet month. I think that's part and parcel of the reason we haven't done a podcast in a while is because we've just been doing the mundanity of life, of just working and all that tough shit that has to happen in the middle of it all. Interesting little side note. I like to do a little... segue here.
The segue of the show.
No, it's not a segue. What is it? A tangent, if you will. A
tangent. I do like tangents.
There was recently sort of a growing support, and I only know this because there was a union in Ireland have now lent their support to this, of switching to a 4-day work week.
Wow.
Apparently that's the next big
change that's coming.
Yeah, change. So
a 4-day work week.
A 4-day work week. And you may think if you're not for yourself, you're not like a...
I'm not a Monday to Friday.
Yeah. The concept isn't that you can just work one day less. The concept is that you should get paid enough in 4 days of work.
Yeah. That you don't need to. You can have 3 off.
Exactly. So the minimum wage for 5 days of work should be for 4 days of work. Essentially.
Excellent.
So you could leverage that your own way, or you're going to work the extra 5th day and make that extra bit of money. Or
I wholeheartedly support this decision.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Listen, it's going to take a while to gain traction.
I think so.
Obviously, but I would love to see that.
We missed a lot in the news in terms of this whole Brexit thing as well, and Boris Johnson fucking absolutely balls in the whole country up.
I'm loving it. It's like House of Cards. It literally is like House of Cards.
Yeah, it is.
He came in and he
British.
I was literally keeping. I had BBC Live.
Yeah.
At work whenever they had this court decision.
The breaking news.
I thought it was so fucking brilliant. I love seeing dickheads get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
And
he is a dickhead.
He did that thing where he essentially shut down Parliament for 3 weeks, which is way longer than he needed to. And everyone knew he was doing it because he just didn't want to get told off about Brexit.
Yeah.
And then the courts were like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, you cannot do that. Yeah.
And then he was like, that's fine.
Manipulating the system.
That's fine. I'll listen to the courts. And then they made this law that says you have to ask for an extension before Brexit. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're it's just... Yeah. I hope he goes to prison. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's been hilarious. It's been fun.
It has been,
Probably shouldn't be laughing so hard considering we live on the border.
We're going to feel the
shit. The latest thing I've heard though, Chris, is that the DUP are now open to the idea of the backstop? This thing that was no, the backstop, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're probably going to do it.
Yeah.
So, 2 years of negotiation pretty much down the shitter, but that's politics for you.
Politics. I pay no heed in politics unless something big kind of happens, or unless it directly affects me.
This has been some of the best politics to watch because you don't need to know or care about it.
No,
it's just pure.
It's just pure entertainment. Exactly, it's drama.
And the memes that just flood out of it. It's brilliant. Sorry. But yeah, that's politics. We don't talk about politics on this podcast.
No, you see our sister show, the Empty Promise
Politics podcast.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I forget what I was going to talk about before the.
What have you got up to then?
4 days. Oh yeah, not much.
Watching, playing,
and that's been the thing. I've been playing Gears 5.
How's that?
Which should be entitled Gears of War 5. But we'll go beyond that.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't. It's not like any previous Gears game where I just wanted to really just embrace myself in the story. So I took a week away from it and I went back and another couple of days.
Right. Wow.
Eventually finished it. It's a much stronger story than Gears 4.
Okay.
You actually like the characters this time.
Okay.
JD isn't as prominent, and when he is there, he's a lot better.
Okay.
You play your main character as Kate, which you get used to and actually kind of like after a while.
That worried me a little bit.
Yeah, it's weird. I definitely prefer her over JD Phoenix in Gears 4.
Right.
But I never really liked JD Phoenix.
Neither did I. I could never warm to him. Yeah. No. He just didn't feel like a true Phoenix.
You warm to him more in this game.
Okay.
You also warm a lot more to Del because he's your companion throughout it all.
Right.
And Jack is back.
Oh, okay.
And that was my favorite part.
Excellent. Okay.
But yeah, the campaign, Chris, is like, it starts off like what Gears 4 was, which is like, they're Gears, they're in the city, they're trying to launch a Hammer of Dawn satellite, and there's fighting and there's whatever, just standard Gears-ish kind of stuff, but not classic Gears, because it's like in a new city, everything's rebuilt. And then something happens at the end of the first act, and you switch to playing as Kate.
Okay.
And it's kind of, this is where it gets really interesting for me, and I'd say for you as well. Okay. This is the part I think I definitely want you to play.
Okay.
She ventures up with Dale to Mount Kadar.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't want to tell you exactly where she goes, but there's a settlement in a place that I know you will love where it's set. And then she basically, an event, something happens there at that settlement that drives her to find out about her origins and about why she has this locust.
This already sounds,
so she goes to a couple of familiar places that you'll remember from Gears.
Excellent.
2.
I love that, yeah.
There's a lot of like lore, origin story stuff there. Good. Basically confirms what we already know about her, that she's like a descendant of the locust queen. And she's sort of determined then to sever these bonds that she has. But she learns in the process of this sort of the threat that humanity faces, and then you move away from the Mount Kadar region to this like desert area, which is it's not part of COG territory, it's part of, do you know the UIR?
Yes.
So you're over there now.
Right. And
it's all brand new. I didn't enjoy it as much because it's like I just like that COG kind of
COG, yeah.
But it's a really beautiful place.
Nice.
And you do those missions, they're pretty good. The end of that chapter is really strong. It felt like Gears 2/3 to me.
Okay.
The combat and the story. And then the final chapter is definitely the highlight of the game. It's where things start getting serious. You're starting to get concerned about some of the people you're fighting with.
Oh no.
And there is big story
dramatic
elements that happen. And the end of the game leaves you with a very sort of, again, it harks back to Gears 2, just with sort of the level of and very good. I will say, there'll be a question that I'm desperate to ask you. You always have to play the game first, and you'll know what that is, what that question is when it happens. And, we'll talk about that when you should definitely play the game. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, I might pick that up this week then.
5, everybody.
Excellent, thank you for that.
People are probably sick of us talking about Gears.
God, look at
it. It happens way more than it should.
No, we have to do it though.
Also, we played some Horde and got beat like Horde and like.
Yeah, how's that? How is it this time?
It's easier, I think. It's definitely easier, but there's like 6 different ranks to it. So there's like standard, which is just if you die, everyone dies, game's over. Then there's like the next level, which is the locusts have more health. Next level, the locusts are more damaging, and then it goes right the way up to master, where it's like
just insane.
Okay,
yeah. But I'd really like to get my teeth into that. Like, yeah,
it's good.
Nice.
But yeah, that played in Gears. Played a lot more Apex Legends.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Got good at it.
Oh.
Me and Laura
gotta get good.
We've won like 9 times.
Jesus, well
and I was like, I never thought I'd win at that.
Excellent.
I'm shit at games, so
there you go.
That was fun.
There's hope for us all, kids.
Believe you me, if I can do it, you can do it.
Wow.
But yeah, playing games, it has been fun. I've actually been doing it a lot.
Good.
And it's kind of just been passing the evenings. Haven't watched much at all. Started watching Bob's Burgers a bit.
It's good.
Yeah, have you seen it? Yeah?
Oh yeah, it's a good show.
It's good,
yeah,
it is good.
It is a good show.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
I kind of have it. It's like in the background kind of show.
Like a dry comedy. You know what I mean? It's kind of,
Sometimes it's just like but it's generally it makes you feel good watching.
Yep.
I have not eaten anything of particular note, but I have had some damn good Five Guys.
Oh, well
and
done.
Some damn good KFCs and some damn good Domino's.
Excellent.
So I mean, I'm enjoying.
Take your pick there, yeah.
And finally, I have read. I finished. Did I tell you I finished Norse mythology?
Yes.
So I finished that with Neil Gaiman, and then I jumped into finishing a book that I started a while ago by Neil Gaiman called Neverwhere.
Oh yeah. So
I finally rolled that off, which I felt good about. I didn't love the whole like world, but I just love reading Neil Gaiman.
So
it was great. Started and finished Fahrenheit 451.
Oh.
By Ray Bradbury, I think is the name. Yes. Which is like a dystopian future where people aren't allowed to read books because of the potential radical nature.
No way.
What's inside? Yeah, so
that sounds good.
It is pretty good. It's a short enough read. You could probably blow through it in a couple of hours or a day.
Oh, wow, okay.
But he likes to use like metaphors and similes, and sometimes it just gets a little
much.
A little much. Okay. Just like you could have just wrote what happened. I swear to God, I went back and counted. There's like 6 pages that are dedicated to him crossing a road.
Serious?
I don't know. They tried to inject some drama and this road, man. It's like it's like 7 lanes wide. Fucking hell! I couldn't believe I was still reading about it. I was like, this has been 3 pages. I can't believe this is happening. But and I've just started reading a series of short stories by Ted Chiang,
right?
Who wrote the story that is the basis for the film Arrival.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah, so
very nice.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Just finished the story that it's based on. It's such a good read. I would recommend that book just for that.
Wow!
Have you seen Arrival?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant film.
I think I have your copy.
Oh, you probably do actually.
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Solid film.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Wow.
Speaking of films, haven't watched any.
Oh, I think I've done enough watching for the 2 of us.
Oh, well, that's good. I want to hear now. I want to hear what you've been...
Right. Okay, so after we last met, I changed my tariff, my phone tariff. I was paying like 30 quid a month, getting 30 gig, getting blah, blah, blah. I changed. O2 had some offer I've seen on TV. Get 100 gig of data.
Why?
For £25 a month.
Why?
I was like, yeah, come that way.
Give me the gigabytes.
100 gigs. So I reinstated my Netflix account. I got everything I need to get set up and primed to go. And I've just been on watching.
Are you doing it all on your phone, or are you
TV?
Hooking it up to TV?
Just TV.
That is beautiful.
It's unbelievable.
Is it good like streaming and stuff?
Great. Just no buffering. Just here we go. Just constant. 100 gigabytes. It renews tomorrow. So I'm like, let's go.
Wait, did you run out?
I'm on like 6 gig. Left, yeah.
You be
94 gig, 100%. Do you know what it is?
Wow.
And I hate you for it because it's so fucking good. BoJack Horseman.
Oh yes.
Oh my God, dude.
I am thrilled that you've watched it.
I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
And then like, I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 episodes deep. There was like this kind of like, oh fuck, this show is like deep.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Exactly.
And I was like, I just got like chills and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch on.
Everyone gets that.
Holy shit. It's insane. It is so deep. It's so good. But then it just pulls it back with such stupid comedy that I love. And it's so good. Mr. Peanut Butter is one of my favorite characters that's ever existed in anything.
What is this? A crossover episode?
It's so good. I don't know. I can't say anything more about it that it's just fucking class. It's got this
quality that you literally cannot describe.
I love it. So I'm like in the middle of the 4th season now at the minute, and
there's 5 seasons out there. Right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Shawnee Mac, when he was last on this podcast, we were talking about the sort of standout episode from season 6, which I can't wait for you to see.
Okay, excellent.
But is it season 5 or season 6? I don't know. The last season is now announced. So the one coming, it's coming in October and then February.
Okay, yeah.
So they're splitting it up, but it's the final season. So
it's. I don't want it to end.
I know.
I'm
scared of how it's going to end.
It's so good though. Yeah. It's I think what has recently just happened. So BoJack went back to. He was shooting Secretariat, and then he left, and he went to. Is her name?
Yeah, the deer.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, and he tries it then with the daughter.
He doesn't, but
he does, and then he fucks the whole thing up. He buys a boat, and oh my God! And then Mr. Peanut Butter bought all the colanders and all the strainers, the spaghetti strainers, and they kept this going for like 6-7 episodes. Now it's like they are not afraid to like just keep a gag rolling, and I thought it was going nowhere, and then out of the blue, there's like this spaghetti in the ocean. It's like if only someone. It's so good.
It's brilliant though.
It's hilarious. I love it.
Running jokes on it are some of the best.
Yeah, and again, it's deep as hell. So I love it.
So glad that you actually got around to watching it.
Really good.
It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. It's got
really good. Apart from that, I have watched a load of documentaries on Netflix. I've just caught up like mad. I watched that Fire. Remember that party thing you're talking about?
Oh yeah. Fire
Jesus
Festival?
Christ.
It's so funny.
I was
was like, how the hell did this guy think he was getting away with this? Like,
yeah.
Oh my god, that is a serious. I was like, there's no way this could be real.
No, 100% true. Jesus, and there's some of the shit that they did, insane.
Yeah, the shit that they promised and tried to get away with, even right up until like the day of the festival. I was sitting going, why is he still going through with this? Just cancel it.
He's just like looking for more money, just trying to make it happen. You're like, get the fuck out of Dodge.
Insane. Like, but what else I watched? I watched that award-winning one called like Icarus or something.
Icarus, yeah, about the doping.
But the doping.
I haven't actually seen it, but I've heard
it's insane. Like, and then.
Have you watched that conspiracy one? Apparently, it's very, very good.
No, not yet. Actually,
I thought you'd maybe be.
Yeah, it keeps popping up, so I'm ready to go with it next month now. What else have I watched?
Next month,
I've watched so much shit. Movie wise, I watched the first and second Hunger Games.
Oh, nice! I recently finished the Hunger Games.
Brilliant.
I think I mentioned that on the podcast. Actually, yeah.
I rewatched Gone Girl.
Yes,
I watched
very good.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I went through like a fucking David Fincher kind of phase.
Mindhunter is the David Fincher show.
That's right. I remember you telling me that. I've seen it pop up a few times. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but
David Fincher, man.
What was the other one? Yes, I went. I sat down one morning and I was like, I was off work and I was like, I don't know what to put in. I put in The Martian.
What a show.
I just forget how good that show is.
It's a very good
Within
show.
10 minutes, I was like, Matt Damon is brilliant. I was like, this show is brilliant. Finished watching it and I was like, I need more space. Interstellar. Just went straight in, back to back. I had a space day. Brilliant. It was amazing.
You seen that new space show film, Ad Astra, with
Brad Pitt? Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Looks very good.
So I had a massive space fucking orgy, basically.
Brilliant.
I've definitely watched Morty. I've watched so much and I can't think of it now. But BoJack is like the standout show so far.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Reading wise, I finished that The Girl Who Fell from the Sky, the Julianne Kopka book we discussed on Fantastic Human Feats. The lady who survived, or the girl who survived the Amazon rainforest after falling 10,000 feet from a plane. Insane story, really, really good story. Finished a couple of other books I was reading, and now I'm reading the Steve Jobs autobiography, which is just enlightening in itself. I'm waiting on books that I bought them for like £2 and I went for free shipping, so I've been waiting for months for that. But when I get them, I'll look forward to reading them. Food wise, I haven't had anything really out of the ordinary. So that's that. That's pretty much that.
Fair play.
Yeah, it hasn't been overly exciting as far as that goes.
I recently filled my Amazon basket with a bunch of different books.
Yeah.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'd like to read that soon enough.
I'd say the book would be like. Have you seen the movie?
No.
I'd say the book would be way better than the movie. It is a premise there that's just like.
I've heard it's brilliant. And there's 3 of them as well. So I'll probably get through the 3 of those eventually.
Did David Fincher do The Girl on the Train?
It seems like something he would do. That's Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Literally about a girl on the train.
I don't think he
witnesses something, I think.
I don't think that he did, but I think it's very Dave Fincher-esque.
Yeah, okay.
As they like to say. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet?
No. Have you?
No.
I'm holding out to this week. I'm going to see Joker.
It's out this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
4th of October, so it's out this weekend.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I have to see it.
I've made that. Yeah. I just have to.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough said. Mm-hmm. And I heard it's getting pretty good reviews.
Very good.
Pretty hot.
Yeah, pretty hot reviews.
Okay, it's heating up, right?
I can't wait to see it. What else? I can't even.
There's actually a bunch of great films coming out soon.
Yeah.
There's, what's it called? It's like Ferrari versus Ford.
Oh, okay.
It's Christian Bale, Matt Damon,
nice.
A couple others. It's like it's basically like Ford.
How they went head to head.
Basically, challenge Ferrari to come over and we'll race you, and how they managed to beat them. I think. What
do you call that movie? And I don't know if it's come out or if it's still in a work in progress. Where Christian Bale is playing Dick Cheney.
Vice.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Is it?
You have it?
Oh, okay.
I seen it yesterday, and I was like, I'm gonna sit down and watch that sometime because it looks.
I really want to see that movie. Actually,
Adam McKay, same guy who did The Big Short.
Yeah. Have you seen The Big Short?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Oh, so good.
Okay, excellent.
I love that film.
The other film I meant to pick up and I'm going to pick up this week is, what do you call the film? Mark Ruffalo, and he plays.
Hulk.
No, he plays the. It's about the pedophilia in the priesthood, and they are the reporters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Spotlight.
Spotlight.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
It's not just him, it's him.
There's a couple of big names there, yeah.
What do you call him? You know him when you see him. He's one of those actors, you know him when you see him. He was in Wolverine. Wolverine Origins. That dude. That guy, Liv Schreiber. Is that who it is?
Yeah.
He's a big bulky dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Rachel McAdams. And they're all really good. And who do you call him as well? Oh, yeah. The 1980s Batman.
Val Kilmer?
No. Before that, the original, the OG.
Adam West?
No. After that. Who was he? He's why can't I think of his name?
So there was Val
Kilmer. He was in Birdman. He was in...
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's also in it, I think. I'm pretty sure he's in it. Oh,
yeah. Because I recently watched Spider-Man Homecoming again.
Is he in it?
Michael Keaton, yeah.
Have you seen Far From Home?
No.
Nor have I.
I haven't even seen, what do you call the animated Spider-Man?
Oh, Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So good.
Jesus, I'm missing out on so many fucking good movies.
Go see Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Buy Into the Spider-Verse. Or stream it somewhere.
Shit, I've got so much
100
to
gigabyte
watch.
fucking download.
I love having 100 gig. I could just do so much.
You don't have to worry. That's what it is.
I know. I'm actually holding out for Call of Duty so I can get online and play.
I played the beta.
And? Will you be purchasing?
No. I played the 2v2 and I was like, this feels like old school COD. And then I played the bigger kind of like open space. And I said like, they have went back to how it was in Modern Warfare 2. But the maps are still designed like modern day maps. So they're like open and stuff. And like, I don't know, it just feels like you die way too easily.
I get that.
You know what I mean? Like,
so I would die even easier than that.
It's like you walk out and it's like you're just completely exposed and you can't see shit.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it's probably just because games have switched from being like that kind of realistic stance. Now it's like when you shoot people, numbers pop out of them and stuff like that. You know, the way things have went.
Yeah.
And everyone wears like big like shields and like bright colors and skins. This is not like that. So
it's
maybe
the world we live in, dude.
Maybe I just didn't adjust. But we played maybe 3 or 4 matches in it, and I didn't fall in love with it like I thought I was gonna. But if the campaign's good,
fall asleep.
But if the campaign's good,
exactly,
it's still worth it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Oh, apparently it's getting a lot of flack.
Oh, fuck.
Have you heard of it? Apparently they made the survival mode. You remember survival mode in Spec Ops?
Yeah.
It's exclusive to PlayStation 4 for a year.
What?
Yeah. Not like 2 months or a month, like a year. So people are just like, what's, like, if you're PC or Xbox, what's even the point? Because after a year, it'll be whatever Call of Duty comes next.
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently guns are in microtransactions and all that standard sort of money-making shite of the day. If you don't enjoy games,
no,
you won't enjoy that conversation we just had.
I don't think there's anything else I really need to mention on this day. No, I think there was loads. I didn't write it down. I was like, I'll remember it. It's
because it's been a month, and this is every time we have a big delay, we mess it up because instead of having loads of things to talk about, we can only remember the things that have happened the last couple of days, and you know that's.
We will be back though. This podcast will go up now tomorrow. The audio will go up tomorrow. The video will go up later in the week, and then we'll be back next Monday with another podcast. I hope we can get one done the weekend.
I'm 100% with coming down Monday evenings.
Perfect.
That's fine with me.
Excellent. I
like to try and get the weekends.
The weekend, yeah, but if not Monday.
The weekends are so variable, Chris.
Perfect, 100%.
You find that whenever it's, I mean, you kind of have a little bit more flux with your days off, but it's like when you have 2 days off, it's like I have to do something of note.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with my week off.
Man, I'm going to book a couple days off next week.
Yeah.
I said I was going to do it a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we could get to work on shooting some of this stuff that we have planned.
Very true, actually.
Definitely.
Actually, I might book a day off next week, and we can.
That would be great.
We can get together.
That'd be great. I'd love to because I really want to get shooting.
Shooting some birds.
Some of this stuff, yeah, definitely.
Shooting the shit.
But this is episode. I forgot to say what episode.
Episode 80-something.
80-something of the Happy Promise podcast. Thank you for tuning in this week. Remember, you can find the audio version on any podcast hosting service, and you will find the video version over at youtube.com/XIGaming.
Just search Empty Promise Podcast.
So much easier. Just into Google, just Empty Promise Podcast. So there we are. 100%. And we will see you all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed next week for the second chapter in our supernatural paranormal investigatory series. Series brought to you by Empty Promise in October 2019. Spookfest.
Paratober.
Spectacular.
Paranormal.
See you all next week. Goodbye and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Do